And good morning. Good morning. We're here at PN Global News, October the 11th. Jesse McRae.
Morning.
And man, we got back in the house my man JB, Jonathan Bender. What's up? I'm gonna give him some real dap like a real bro. You know?
Hey man, hot off I-45 North. There we go.
Hey, coming up down that road every week ain't easy though, bro. I told you last time you should go and move to Texas, man, like Frisco. Not used to.
I like to drive, man.
Like to drive?
Nice little 4 hours, easy, listen to the music.
Yeah.
And,
Man, what kind of music you listen to, JB?
everything, man. Just like movies, I watch everything. I'm more
Okay,
of a movie
I'm a movie buff
I'm a
too.
movie consumer.
He's a movie buff too now.
Dude, I'm talking animation to drama,
Sure.
to sci-fi, to comedy, everything.
You like everything.
Favorite director?
I
Uh-oh.
don't go into directors, man. I'm just the movie.
Favorite movie?
See, I'm the movie guy too. He always talking about the director. Okay, give me the scene. What scene was that?
What's that?
Favorite movie?
You got to pick a genre.
Oh, okay,
Horror.
okay.
Horror, Halloween.
Okay.
But I've also gone more closer to what is that series? Annabelle.
Oh, okay.
Annabelle's not bad.
Yeah.
Dracula 1993 with Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh, see,
I
man. See, I told you can't mess with this dude, man. He gonna give you the movie. He gonna give you the
give you the
year.
director,
He gonna give you the
year,
director,
the
and he
name.
can give you some actual snippets of the movie.
We're not gonna do that today.
All right, what's
Because
that?
I think on the last segment, last
man.
week, we injected a little what's that? MJG?
Yeah,
Yeah.
A-ball and MJG, a little 10 toes down?
Yeah, 10 toes down.
We're gonna go Rock Nation today.
There you
Hey,
go.
man,
There you
look.
go.
But again,
toes
you know,
down.
to the listening audience and viewing public, good morning. Good morning. Hope you had a great week. We're here again at PN Global News, digging back into some of our series, some of our segments, talking about why you want my money, right?
Absolutely.
Why you want my money?
And a big part of it was when am I going to get it back?
When am I gonna get my money back? So we try to keep it real, right, Jesse?
Yes, we
Right,
do.
JB? We try to keep it real. We want to make sure that you know you guys and ladies out there are getting education. You know about asking for capital, going to investor pools of investors, whether it be micro lending, whether it be private equity, VC money, bank money, mom or dad, brother, sister, cousins, money. They're going to want to know, why do you want this money? How are you going to get my money back? As we say every day, Jay,
Yeah.
how are you going to get it back?
And just by nature of their relationship, that's convenient money.
Convenient
Yeah.
money.
So maybe in this segment, from a former athlete's perspective and an accredited investor's perspective and successful business person's perspective, we'll talk a little bit about the inconvenience versus the convenience of having to answer today's question: why do you want my money? Because there's a convenience to it if you have a relationship. There's an inconvenience to it, especially if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you don't. So we're gonna have some fun today.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun.
We're gonna have fun
We're gonna have
today.
some fun. It's October 11th, and it's time, man. It's time to change the game, and we're happy to have, Jonathan Bender here today, who's also been a former NBA player and experienced, people asking him for money, quite a bit. And we talked about that on the last show. But JB, man, it's also a pleasure, too, for you to be that spokesperson and that mouthpiece to other athletes
Yes,
and
indeed.
entertainers
Yes, indeed.
who are going through the same things that you've gone through when you were 17, got that first million.
Yeah.
Coming out of
And we bought everything.
right.
We bought everything.
So it's good, and I hope that the fellows, and ladies, understand to like listen and hear the things that you talked about in the last show, October 4th, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yes, it
October
was.
4th. And now today is October 11th. But understand the things that they would go through when they get access to this type of capital. You're blessed to be playing basketball, because now you're about how tall? 7 foot, 6'9", 6'11"?
7.
7 foot. I didn't want to give him 7 foot.
Depends on the shoe.
Okay.
Some days it's 6'11" just for entertainment.
So in your Ferragamos, you're 6'11".
6'11".
In your Kenneth Coles, you're 7'1".
7'1".
So no, but it's good. It's just good for the athlete entertainers who could become investors or accredited investors, as they progressively, build their craft playing basketball, football, baseball, or track and field, or hockey, or whatever, you know, like Venus and Serena, you know, became great tennis stars, and they've been investors in a lot of different brands.
Right.
But at the end of the day, whether it's Venus and Serena, whether it's JB, or whether it's T-Mac, whether it's AD, or any athlete, you're going to always ask that question when somebody come to you and say, hey, I really need you to give me $1 million or $2 million, you know, for my project or for my business or blah, blah, blah. You're going to say, well, why do you need my money?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question you're going to ask, right?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, $1 million. Think about how much that is. Think about how long it takes a normal person working a normal 9 to 5.
Uh-oh.
How long it takes to accumulate.
Come on, preach,
$1
brother.
million.
That's lifetime
Preach,
earnings.
brother.
And you come and ask
Yeah.
for
Lifetime
$1 million. You better have some very well, you know,
Yeah.
very well spelled out documents and put together a process and stuff to be able to, you know,
Solicit that.
solicit
Because
that.
due diligence is real, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's real.
You know, and JB, you know, man, and JB's family too, you know, for you guys out there and ladies out there listening to us at PN Global News, this is still family here. So we ask questions, and we're honest, we're real, we're very transparent about what we're trying to educate, what we're trying to teach, how we're trying to help you gain access to capital. But question, as a former NBA player, would you agree or would you disagree? Here's one of my questions I wanted to give JB last week on the show.
Yeah.
Would you not agree or would you disagree with me that being an athlete, even though you could be an investor and a credit investor and everything, and a good steward to a lot of businesses, but isn't it the best part-time job in the world?
Being an athlete?
Being an athlete.
Yes.
A professionally paid.
The best
Yeah,
part-time job in the
would-
world.
I wouldn't call it part-time job. No.
It's a full-time
It's
job.
a full-time
But
job.
in context,
Oh, my goodness.
it's the best part-time because JB, you retired at what? At what age?
I retired at 26.
You can't tell me that's not the best part-time
Wow.
job in the world.
Wow.
I did play again in 2009 and 10, so
Yeah.
really after 2010.
Out of 2010 at 28 then, right?
28, 29.
28, 29, and you've done it. Been at the top, played in front of millions and millions and millions of people, made millions of dollars. How many of us could really say that we're going to work this job and we could get to millions, and that's not the best part-time, that's a full-time job.
Full-time job.
Right.
But
So-
if you got residuals kicking off, it's a lot of cats out
Hey,
here got
man, you know,
residuals kicking off.
one of my favorite words is residual.
You know what I mean?
Knew it.
Well, you know what the context is, Jessica. Just I want you to have context.
Yeah.
The best part-time job is being an athlete.
Yes, indeed.
And you can take your money and invest into a lot of things. And being that you had the experience now, you have JB3, which is probably by far one of the best products on the market, and we're part of that, and we're going to help that thing continue to scale and grow. But being that you've done all these things, you've seen so much now, you've got so much knowledge to actually, you know, show and talk to the investing public, I mean all these investors out here, all the athlete entertainers, as well as these minority business who came through the same door that you came through from a business perspective.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's very important. I think that there's a disconnect, though. I think from entertainers, athletes, and things like that, people think that just because you got money don't mean you're an investor.
True.
Right?
True. Touche. Touche.
It doesn't mean you're an investor. Most athletes and entertainers, they invest in what their buddy
Invested in.
invested in.
Is that the locker room talk?
Right.
Then we go back
It's
to.
follow the leader. Hey, man, you know, you making the most money, so you investing in what? Well, let me
Let me go do this.
go do that too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a short story. I did that before too. I still have $1 million into a project out in Turks and Caicos
Really?
since 2006, and
Ooh.
it's sitting there. It wasn't particularly that group's fault that the crisis of 2008 came. and
Yeah. True.
Lehman Brothers went under.
Belly
That was,
up,
our,
yeah.
that was our main lender.
Yeah.
But it's the project is still alive. But when I say it's crawling, it's
crawling.
It's I mean,
2006 is
it's
a long
still in
time.
the belly.
Yeah.
It hadn't come out
Wow.
to start crawling yet, right? So
And then for
Yeah.
the listening audience of you in public, that was 2006,
2006.
and you put $1 million in the Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, it's 12 years.
Yeah, it's 12 years. 12 years.
It hasn't disappeared, but
Yeah.
It's non-performing.
it's still it's non-performing
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
Right?
How vital was it, looking back on it, to say, man, if I look at my total portfolio and I've got 5%, 10%, 12%, whatever that allocation is to
Yeah.
that non-performing asset, How vital is it for you to take a periodic snapshot as an investor and then going in with that perspective that you may have to speak to that potential barrier, because they're viewing you as an asset allocation.
Mm-hmm.
Accredited investor, institution, high net worth individual, they should be looking at you as an asset allocation.
Mm-hmm.
So how important has it been for you to, over the 12 years, to look back on that particular allocation and its performance in aggregate for your total portfolio, and to what extent has that shaped your perspective as you go out and solicit capital to help to infuse in your business?
I would say the first thing is don't follow other people. I want to put that out there 1st You know, and just put
Great
that
start.
Hey, we're gonna do it like this.
Don't follow other people.
Right. And I think I did the best due diligence I could do. But I think my main influence was following others.
Okay,
Right.
and that's fair.
And the slots were $250 a piece. I got 4 slots. Right.
There's
Yeah.
a million.
Right. I got 4 slots, and I went out and saw it. You know,
Kick the tires.
I kicked the tires around. The numbers look good. But what amazed me even more was I think it was a little bit of ego, because owning a percentage of an island was like,
That's ego.
I
own a piece of an island.
Piece of an island.
So
That
here we
means-
go. Here's the question. So, do you mean to say that you failed to balance ambition with vanity?
There you go.
Oh, I told you, you've been around J Mac long enough. No, it's coming. It's
That's
coming.
some
It's
nice
coming.
quotes, man.
It's coming.
yeah, but I thought that, hey, we're gonna get this thing done in a year, get my cash back, got my ownership.
Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah.
Right. We own a piece of everything: the water, electric, all the companies out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. You got a natural disaster that comes in.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Good enough though. We're still in. That investment group didn't just run away. It's still in communication. Most of the time, you lose something like that, you'll never hear.
No.
Sure,
from them
no.
again.
Sure.
We're still in communication. Still hopes. Brought in another investor, and they're trying to pick up. Pick up where they left off. It's taking years, I understand, but at least I appreciate the communication from that standpoint.
That's
But
important.
It's still $1 million.
Yeah. But
That's
it
gone.
is important though, when you got my money, to still communicate
Absolutely.
with me, right?
You gotta communicate.
You gotta
Even if you don't see a path of getting it back anytime soon, the communication is well appreciated, right?
Yeah.
And to answer your question, I know I went around
That's
the
okay.
corner.
No, you're fine.
Today, if I had a project like that to come to me, at least I'll be able to point back to that scenario. And even though this company couldn't stop a natural disaster, at least I can ask more questions and maybe take a slower step. Instead of $1 million, maybe a half a slot, just to see. Maybe a half a slot and work the deal a little bit different.
I'm sorry, but do you feel like, and Jesse for you too, and JB, do you feel like, most times when you give this money, it's a risk associated with the money, but do you feel like, there is a chance that when I give you this $1 million or this $250 or $2 million, whatever the number is, that I might not get it back? Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, heck yeah, but the crazy thing, I didn't feel that way with that investment I made.
Okay, good.
That was the biggest investment that I've made. Just
Right.
here you go.
Right.
I was pretty much for sure that was coming back. I didn't think about losing at that point or being delayed.
Right.
An extended period of time. So there is a thought of like we said before on the last show, when do I get this back? How is this protected?
Right.
That's why when we did the back and forth, I wanted to tie my potential investment in that exchange to, each product.
Right.
So at least
Milestones.
I can see something coming back.
Right. Well, and I think we always, in investing money into any project or any business, you got to know that there's a chance it might not come back.
Correct.
And we talk about a lot of things to protect that money. We talk about, key man insurance. We talk about succession planning. We talk about all those things that tries to protect the money, for the investors also, because we got to protect the investing public as well as we try to protect our vendors too, because there's a lot of back and forth, but we don't want the vendors to lose their business also because they didn't make their coupon payments or dividend payments and stuff like that. So we go through that sometimes.
Right.
But Jesse, I need Jesse to do us a favor today.
What's that, my friend?
I'm going to let Jesse take us to the break on October 11th with Jonathan Benson, Rodney Woods, and Jesse McRae. Take us away to that break.
So a great takeaway from this segment is to go in and leverage your perspectives. Understand that you probably made some mistakes, but have a willingness to transcend them with more judicious fiduciary judgment. We'll be right back.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Welcome back. That was quick. Welcome back.
It was quick.
Penn
I
Global
didn't get a
News.
chance to drink my tea, man. I was too busy messing with my son Robert about his smoking Joseph, you know.
Welcome back to Penn Global News. You know, this is Jesse McRae, Rodney Woods, the incomparable JB, John Bender. You know, this is the part of the show, part of the broadcast where we will have a real injection of humor. But again, we're going to balance it with some seriousness and some context. You know, where we left off was really getting into leaning on the perspective of understanding some shortcomings with regard to some judgment, and being able to better appreciate the need for due diligence, and that there's going to be a process to the ask. And one of the processes to the ask is knowing that you've got considerations for the business that you're investing in, the key man insurance, the succession planning. As we kind of said last week, one of the services that Playbook Investors Network offers as a service solution is business plan writing.
Yeah.
We spend a considerable amount of talking about that because it's important to be able to articulate that in word and to present that in engagement. But also contractually, how important was it to have certain covenants? Because you and I had the role play on the last show. We were speaking to what is part and parcel to having covenants in place to measure milestones.
Right.
So regardless of the investor demographic, institution, accredited, family office, wealthy individual that's not recognized as an accredited investor, how important is it to go into those doors prepared with the documentation where you can speak to covenants?
So right before you speak on that part, this is what Jess and I do all the time, because we try to break it down for our listening audience and our viewing public. So break down covenants. For the audience, because a lot of times we'll talk our terms, financial terms, but we also want to make sure that everybody understands what Jesse is actually expounding on when it comes to covenants.
So when we consider covenants, as with any document that's going to govern the process, the approach, and ultimately what should be a completed transaction with any investor, we want to make sure that we address specific aspects of milestones and other measurable events to help you determine the what ifs. If sales slow, sales process is impacted, what are the provisions that will satisfy the risk profile and appetite of that investor? Hence, covenants.
Thank you, J Mac. All right, JB, so now go ahead and hit him again. Let's go back through that same phase.
How important is it to go into that door? Not just being prepared for the ask, but knowing that you've got documentation that speaks to the how. If certain things happen, if the what ifs happen, how will we flow and mitigate those instances? Sales slow down, what are we doing to mitigate the impact to the investor? How is it important to make sure that those covenants are ready to be articulated, or the aspects of those covenants to exude the confidence of the investor?
Yeah, I think it's important to be consistent with your spoken word. Your spoken word is consistent with what's on paper. So when you're giving him those answers and you're walking him down the yellow brick road, it should be consistent with what he reads on paper, right? So when you talk about, you know, the process of sales being on a decline, maybe, right? Maybe if the sales on decline, what happens? What's plan B? What's plan C? And having that in documentation, so after you give your spiel, when he goes to do his due diligence, they can go over that and everything is clean cut, right? So that makes a lot of importance to it.
When you went to specific audiences and you found yourself being at the point of engagement where you're having to, for lack of a better phrase, negotiate on the fly, In one of in the closing segment of our show last week, we talked about the importance of that pro forma and being able to make certain projections, whether it's utopia or Armageddon.
Yep.
Okay. Rodney will tell you, I always like to prepare for Armageddon.
Right.
That way, if there's no fire and brimstone,
Yeah.
then everything else is heavenly.
Right.
Okay. How important was it to go into that audience, knowing that you had pretty much the most dire extremes of scenarios already played out?
So you mean as far as going into an investor?
Investor. Mhm.
Right. I think that the main point is when you're putting together a performer to make sure some people like to throw out big numbers, right? Because you can make up anything you want. Right?
Yeah.
For me, I think it's important to, sort of undercut yourself a little bit. If you know you
Be
can
a bit
make-
more conservative.
Yeah, be a little bit more even under conservative, right? But still make the numbers look good, right? And then blow them out the water, right?
Under
So-
promise and over deliver.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can take what you know you're going to make and maybe cut that down by 40%.
Yeah.
Right? So you go over what you think you're going to make and you go over that, now it's blowing his head up. Now you maybe have an investor for life for other ventures that you're trying to get into.
Now, as a past practitioner in the capital markets, we would call that earnings surprise.
Earning surprise.
But here's the thing. Now, the street will reward you for that for a while.
Yeah.
They'll give you a nice multiple. But at some point, they'll say, JB, you're like that golfer. Baited us into $5 a head. We pushed for the next 3 holes. He sandbagged and sandbagged. And then he was the only one that came out with the lowest score. We all got fleeced for a bill. How important is it at some point, though, to show in your projections that your ambitions can be played out? Because there will be a natural expectation that the ramp up or the runway to profitability may be slow. How important is it to, at some point, show where now you can meet or even exceed expectations as an adequate reflection of the maturity of your product?
Right. So I think if we understand our end goal and we're headed there, right? And what you're saying is we get to a point to where we have to make sure
Absolutely.
we got to reinstill them
Yep.
with everything
Yep.
is running slow.
Yes.
I have to, if we're talking current, I have to really feed them with the Tiger Woods scenario, right? Okay, we're moving slow.
Yeah.
But guess what? We're really finna start swinging, right? So you got to make sure you stay in their ear, keep feeding them new information, new orders that you got, new people that you're speaking to make sure that their confidence is up. Because the worst thing you want to do is keep strolling down that performer and you're performing or maybe just underperforming just a little bit.
Slight
like,
variance.
It's
Yeah.
like, where's the big bang coming, right? To be able to work to a point to where you got some big purchase orders coming, or maybe even keep that in your back pocket, right?
Yeah.
Even if you got in the beginning, keep it in your back pocket and bring that out at a certain point where you feel like, they're getting a little.
And we've experienced that too, even ourselves. We've actually experienced that because even with one of our investors in Florida, they want us to go quick. They want us to go. But we tried to slow it because we knew that could be a real big boom, right? And if you get a big boom, sometimes you can't handle it. Now you got to go back and do a capital call.
Right.
You got to go ask for more money because that boom hit. Now we got more money just to feed that beast now, right?
Yeah, correct.
But you're right. Communication, again, goes back to everything. Communication is everything about the business. We got to communicate to the investing public or the investors, like what's really going on. And we get ready to hit this milestone, and we're finna peak a little bit, but you got to keep them up, engaged and everything else. But I'm gonna do something different today. We don't really have a sports show. This is all about business. Primarily, B2B businesses that we work with, minority, woman-owned, government, LGBTQ, majority business, any business that's out there on the ground that's really trying to gain access to capital. This is what this show is all about. Right, Jay?
No, without
It's all about us trying to educate the actual, vendors out here that are trying to, scale the business, grow the business, and get to the next level. But, at the end of the day, we look at two things. Money is also, why do you want my money? But that money is for human capital, people. And it's the same thing you talked about, JB. It's also the equipment that you've got to purchase to get to JB3 to the next level, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, with sales and marketing, social media, advertising, PR, all that still comes in a form of human people, human capital. So still people and equipment. We just can't get away from that because that's just what it is, right? But I'm digressing a little bit, and I apologize because we don't have JB here every day. We'd love to have him every day. We're trying to get him to move to Frisco.
Frisco.
But let's digress a little bit and talk about, you know, how does Tracy, McRae, and all of our other partners, how do we really educate the athletes from losing the dollars that they're losing, right? You got KG, just lost. You know, what are you gonna do with my money? But when you losing $776 million and $80 million and Tim Duncan losing $20 million, you know, we were like, how does that really happen?
I think that.
And it's no knock on you. We just want to talk because you've been there. You know what it's all
I'm
about.
going to tell you the straight dope.
Straight
Straight
from JB, baby.
straight dope. So,
Straight talk.
Straight talk. So I think that when you're on, when you're on that level, we're not buying Corollas. We're not buying RAV4 cars, right?
Not to knock on Toyota because it's like, Clyde, hold up.
Well, we're not. We're not buying. You know, you're looking at Bentleys.
Yeah, right.
You know, you're looking at everything big, right? So from an investment standpoint, those guys have never invested in anything in their lives. They play basketball. Some of them never even paid phone bills.
Yeah,
Right?
true.
So you expect them to invest all of a sudden just because you got money. It's almost like somebody winning a lottery and you say, okay, this guy is a 20-year vet at investing.
Yeah.
He just won a lottery. So what? So you think that everything has to be big. The project that you invest in has to be $500,000, could be $1 million, because if it's $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, it's going to bring me 20, 30, 40 million, right? But I think what they fail to realize is you can invest in something small, right? And not even a couple $100,000 and watch that build to 10, 15, 20. It may take a longer time, but you know, it's a lower risk investment.
And that's why we always go back to talk about investing in your own community.
Yeah.
Investing in these minority businesses that are in your community that's making a product or making a JB3, if we can make it here in the States, in your own community, that we can put money into these companies and scale these businesses and grow this business. And you get an understanding, a clear understanding of how you're gonna create jobs in your own backyard.
I would really make, if you know, I hear a lot of financial institutions say, you know,
We're going to that next.
They say,
Got it right
you
here.
know, Jonathan, we're really interested in what's going on with the NBA guys, and you know, we just want to help. We just want to help. I said, if you help, then why don't you give them some money and invest it for them and let them get the return? And they don't want to hear that, right? So, so I would, if it was my world, I would make every athlete from every sport start their own company. Small. I don't care if you're trying to start a pen or if you're trying to start, you know, like a little writing pen, or if you're trying to start a t-shirt company or jeans, go do it from scratch and you get a budget of less than $1,000.
Right.
And go do it.
So what we're gonna do, we're here today, October 11th, with Jonathan Bender, my partner Jesse McRae, and I'm Rodney Woods. We're gonna come back after the break and we're gonna continue this conversation. Now we're gonna really talk about these financial institutions that are actually managing the money for these NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball players, and so on and so forth. We'll be back after the break.
Stay tuned.
School's over. What's next? Imagine a place where friendly faces say hello. You grab a healthy snack, have fun, and play a little. Imagine a place where you get lost in a book, get help with homework, or learn in the computer lab, where you create something cool. Kids take the stage, and you get some exercise. Imagine a safe place where you hang out with friends. Your voice matters, and someone's always there to listen. place where you like spending the afternoon. And you can't wait to tell someone all about it. The club is a fun, positive, and safe place to grow. A place to become anything you dream. Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Welcome back, October the 11th. We're here at the studios at Unify.
Are we there? Are we there?
Yeah, we're there.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Jesse McRae, Rodney Woods, and J to the B.
Yeah, man. So
Number 3.
and also, man, welcome to our studios here out in Frisco, man. This
Yes,
is,
sir. Yes,
Unify,
sir.
our partners,
Unify Networks.
Yes,
Right
Unify.
here.
We want to make sure that every business understand what Unify Network brings to the table too, because a lot of businesses need this visual. They need to be able to talk about their businesses. Need to come out here and shoot a commercial.
Yeah.
You know, but this is a great studio. We're honored and happy to be here like every Thursday.
You know, it's funny you were
Every
talking about
Thursday.
vehicles. You were talking about vehicles earlier. So you know, in one of our past segments, we talked about the fact that we went from, you know, a Fiat to a Ferrari.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, we started out with a 4-cylinder, and now we got a V12.
V12 at Unify.
At Unify Networks. Okay, right here in Frisco.
Yeah.
But great segment. I know we're going to get into some juice.
Yeah.
on some of
We
these
got
financial
to,
institutions.
Jesse. We got
okay?
to. That's why we're here.
But be
Education.
easy.
We're going to be easy.
'cause
But we
this-
tell the inconvenient truth.
we tell the inconvenient truth, but just be easy, because we know that we have some financial partners out there, some
Oh,
specific
absolutely.
institutions that we're working with.
And we always
Yeah,
put out
yeah,
disclaimers.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is not about knocks. This is all about education. We're
Right,
just
right.
trying to educate that. And if you're doing the right thing out there as a financial institution, and you got a fiduciary responsibility of athletes' money or our money, or we got a responsibility of your money,
Absolutely.
we're doing it right. We just want to make sure that people understand there are things that happen. There are milestones you got to meet. There are things that you got to overcome. But if you're doing wrong, you need to look in the mirror at yourself, right?
That's the first person that you should see that cares as much as you.
Absolutely.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah, that was good.
You know, that's J Max special, baby.
was good.
He gonna always have he gotta say it.
But
That's
think
for
about it.
sure.
First person in the mirror
That you see
that you see.
that should care about as much as you. In other words, nobody should care about your endeavor more than you.
Absolutely.
Because that's
It's
what
all about
investors
you.
are investing
Yeah,
in.
absolutely.
They're investing in you. They're investing in the promise of you. They're investing in the promise of the process that you yourself bore out of your mind.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And that's really, in a very basic sense of what we like to make sure we bring at Playbook Investors Network, is understand very clearly the only guarantee should be that if you rise up, that you're going to take that first step to do your part to make your dreams happen.
Absolutely.
This is a platform that is designed to engage entrepreneurs, because if we're not providing a platform to provide something tangible, then we're not doing our part. If we're not doing our part, then we're being complicit in the problem. And that's
Right.
really kind of coming back to the spirit of where we closed the last segment is where athletes have an opportunity to reinvest capital into businesses, build it from the ground up, make it cheap, take some kids off the street, invest back in communities, because as my grandfather used to say, Mose Alexander McRae, he says, if you're learning, you're earning. If you're earning, you're buying. If you're buying, somebody's selling.
Yeah.
And if they're selling, they're hiring.
He want that prayer cloth moment, though. I got to go home and give him that
Can
prayer cloth moment.
I have a moment? Can I have a moment? Can I have a moment?
Gotta give him that prayer cloth moment.
But all humor aside, is that not what we're really talking about
Yeah,
here?
pretty
In the
much.
grand scheme of
Yeah,
things, is we've bought the Bentley, we spent the first $1 million, and we're still in the lead in your scenario. And you said if you had your druthers, that you would say every athlete out there,
If I had my what?
druthers,
Uh-oh.
wish,
I told you.
wish.
Break that one off.
If you had your
Gotta break
wish,
that one down.
Hey, I told J Mac to stop, man. Don't kill him, dude.
but if you had your wish,
Yeah.
if you had your way, if you could set the chess pieces
Right.
the way you wanted it, you'd have every pawn. And I know what you mean. You know what I mean by that. Every
Yeah, yeah.
pawn in this
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
positioning to get to the queen, but
That's it.
they would have to go through things to get there.
That's
to,
it.
to invest in their business, invest in their dreams, go through that inconvenient truth of realizing that there are some other things that they didn't know.
Correct.
And now they do. That said, getting back to your point,
Right.
how important is it to take information coming from these institutions and to digest it for what it is versus what you perceive it can be? You said you got a book full of stock
Yeah.
ticker symbols.
Right. We talked about that in the break, you know.
How important was it to embrace it for what it was versus what it could be? Because it was information to you.
I look at things a lot differently now.
Wow.
So I think that's, to some people, it's a different question. For me, I dissect so much that I think it's a little crazy. And I'll show you how I think. I say, okay, I look at a financial institution. I talk about a past one that worked for me, right? I was 17 years old. I was never sat down and walked through things properly, or things hadn't been broken down in the lamest term for me to understand.
Right.
I would just get a huge book that 17, 18, I'm not going to look through. When I finally looked through it, it looked like people were gambling with my money, basically. To me, that's the first thing I saw. I saw a whole bunch of stocks that I didn't understand, and it was just throwing stuff at the wall, see if it stick. Right? And then I came with the thought, I said, okay, these guys are taking my money and they're learning, right? I'm not learning, they're learning with my money because
They're
you have
learning
to
with
lose.
your dime.
Yeah, you got to lose to learn. And that's,
Wow.
I'd rather lose with
Wow.
my own money and learn.
There's
Lose to learn.
JB's quote. You
That's
gotta
JB's
lose
quote
to
now.
learn.
Hold on.
Yeah,
We're
I
going
like
to tag JB with the JB
Yes, it
quote.
is. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Losing
they're
to learn.
They're doing a whole lot of losing to learn off my dime, and they're getting paid for it. So when I really started to dig into it, I saw that, crazy stuff like faxes. Send a fax for like $5. They were charging me to send a fax on my behalf.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of small things that was just like, okay, maybe I need to, do my own thing. I can lose my own money by myself and actually learn. At least I'll get something from it. I'll learn.
Yeah, you said lose and learn.
Right, you lose and learn. And then you got to look at the guys who's running the institution. And you got to ask yourself, have these guys run businesses before or been out there, right? Because they can take your money and say they can do this and that with it, but let's investigate them. Is your money into your own company that you're doing all this different stuff
Do you have any
with?
skin in the game?
Do you have any skin in the
Are
game?
you case study or are you cause and
right,
effect?
Right.
I got you.
There you go.
I
There you
got
go.
you. I got
So
you.
it's a whole lot of questions that I ask from that
Sure.
standpoint. So, so the question is a little different for me. It depends on who's running it. Like with what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
you are from that world.
Yeah.
So you know your stuff. But anybody can put together a company and look the par, right?
Yep.
And target athletes, right? Or do a deal with an agent on the side, and now all of a sudden you got 100 athletes, right?
Yeah. True.
Now, you ain't even taught the athlete how to pay his bills. He can't even get a car without calling the financial institution.
And
that's
say,
gonna
hey,
charge him
I
extra.
want to pick up this Bentley. I want to
Yeah,
get this.
and they're gonna charge
I
you
wanna
extra
get this Benz.
$5,000 just for getting it for you to send it to you
Yeah. Oh man, hey, hello.
with your money.
So you're paying a premium for privilege. Isn't that something? Well, I tell you what. I understand the tax consequences that come along with being at that income level, and I will gladly trade with anyone that wants to trade places with me. But I digress.
We got trading places going on here now. No, and you look back. I mean, you truly look back, and everything is public records today. You know,
course.
social media is really, really big. So when a guy loses 70 million or 100 million, or Tim Duncan lose 20 million, which, by the way, he had been with his firm his whole career. And to lose $20 million, and you're thinking, okay, I've learned, I bought some businesses, my group has done good deals with me, but how do I lose $20 million and I don't know anything about it? That's tough. That's tough. Or you look at KG's deal coming out in the public, 76 million or whatever it was.
But that's why, again, you look at an athlete, their job is entertainer, their job is entertain. Athletes even entertain. But that's what they do their whole life, is to perfect that craft. They're not wizards at making money or making decisions with money. Like I said, that's a whole other price to pay to be in the entrepreneurship world and to live that and give the time to that, to know what to do with your money.
Yeah.
So they always got to depend on somebody else.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
It's almost like having, it's like you're handcuffed with your money. You don't know what to do. So, hey, I don't like being in that position. So I'd rather take another road.
Yeah. And there's plenty of roads to take.
There's plenty
Yes,
of
it
roads.
is.
There's plenty of roads to take.
I'm not
like I
saying that
say.
you'll never use another
Right.
one again, but you'll know who to pick. And it may not be a huge institution. It may be one guy.
Yeah.
Or maybe two guys.
How do you get past the feeling of once burned, twice shy?
Once burned, twice shy. I think you can't just keep your guns in your holster, right? You're gonna get burned. I think you need to pick out what you learn from it and apply that to the next lesson ahead, right? So I'm gonna take everything I learned from getting burned right here. I'm gonna tend to my wounds, but now I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna use that, when I'm maybe
Yeah.
sitting here and talking to another institution. Maybe I can talk a little bit better, and maybe I have a better understanding.
So, we came into the segment saying that we were going to make sure we injected a little bit of hip hop.
Yep.
And I said we was going to go Rock Nation.
Rock
So
Nation.
what you're saying is, we're going back to the roots on this one. So what you're saying is when you go into your next endeavor, you're going in with the expectations there's going to be a reasonable doubt.
It's gonna be a reasonable doubt.
Jay-Z.
Oh, Jig.
Well, Jay done been on a lot of our shows not to physically be here on our show, right?
Right.
We done had Jay-Z here at the table with a whole lot of sand.
Reasonable doubt.
So we got to eventually get him here to the show, right?
will.
'Cause
We
We did
will.
reach
We will.
out to him. We did reach
Yes,
out
we
to
did.
him.
Yes,
And
we did.
He's good friends with Tracy, too, by the way. But we did reach out to Jay-Z, and hopefully one day he'll come sit with us.
Yeah.
So we can really
that'd be
dive
awesome.
into
That'd be awesome.
Rock Nation.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. But again, all humor aside, you're saying that, as we said in the segment last week, the willingness to transcend that barrier, whether it be a psychological barrier, because we feel as though that one got over on us, or that financial barrier where we've got a 12-year commitment that we're still hoping will bear fruit. Major question now. When you consider giving an institution another chance, you've got the emotional baggage of a non-performing, albeit small, allocation in your portfolio. And now you are being solicited to make another investment or to co-invest with one of your former or current professional peers. How do you conduct yourself moving forward, understanding that somebody now that you perceive has just or will have just as much skin in the game as you, that appears to be willing to lose as much as you? How do you leverage that going into your next endeavor?
Well, that at least gives you a little bit more comfortability. If you're standing in front of a person that's asking you to get involved with a deal, you want to make sure, okay, I'm putting up 100, 300, whatever it is. Whatever you put up, and let's see if you know your stuff, right? Let's see what you've invested. Let's see the returns. Let's see if you can talk the talk, right? And some people may not be able to understand the talk, but I can understand it. At least I can understand it from my past losses. So if I understand that person can talk the talk, and he or she is gonna take care of my money like they're taking care of theirs, and I get that feeling, and I do the due diligence, and I know that, then you'll be less gun shy. I would.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Takes a break.
So the takeaway there is we know that there's risk involved with every transaction, every opportunity. The key is going to be due diligence on the front end, deliberation throughout, with an expectation of a successful close at the end. But regardless, remaining very secure in the fact that in order to reap a reward, you must be willing to take some risk. Jesse McRae, Rodney Woods, and JB, Penn Global News coming back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
We'll be back.
Hello, I'm Randall Bird. I'm a gynecologist on staff at Texas Health Center for Diagnostics and Surgery. Robotic surgery is certainly a portion of the future of medicine. Through the use of computer-assisted technology, the robot allows patients to have less pain, a shorter hospitalization, and it allows them to return to their work and their lifestyle much faster. My patients particularly appreciate the care they receive at Texas Health Center for Diagnostics and Surgery. The nursing staff always gets high marks, and they're specially trained to deal with patients after minimally invasive surgery. The facility is beautiful, and the food is excellent. If you're considering a gynecological procedure, major or minor, please speak with your physician. And remember, the physicians on staff at Texas Health Center for Diagnostics and Surgery are always available to help.
Welcome back, Penn Global News, October 11th. I'm here with my business partner, Jesse McRae.
Welcome,
And
welcome.
our guest, Jonathan Bender.
Hello there.
Man, this is a good show. I mean, as we always say, here at Penn Global News, the time is just not long enough for us to get everything in one segment. We're always trying to educate the actual investing public that can invest in minority businesses, woman-owned business, government businesses, LGBTQ or majority businesses. And we also, trying to educate the vendors who are actually looking for the capital to understand how to gain access. Because one thing you're asking is like, I need your money. And then we're asking you, why do you need my money? And any investors asking the same question. Maybe not in that context of it, as Jesse would say, that's not that context. But, talking to Jonathan and talking about the pitfalls of being an athlete and investing in companies or businesses and the things that you see from your lens, growing through those pains, it's a lot that you discover, along the way from 17 years of age to today. You discover a lot of things, and you're trying to say, hey, how can I educate businesses or my peers, my other athlete peers, on not losing all the money? You're gonna ask, I want your money, but why do you need my money? Right. So today's show and last week's show was about, why do you need my money? Why do you need my money? That's always a question I think that anybody in either back of the mind, subconsciously or verbally, they're gonna ask you, why do you need this money? So you gotta be able to give a compelling story of why you need the money. You gotta have your processes in place. You gotta have your business plans. Mm-hmm. You got to have your audit financials or an audit review. Mm-hmm. You may not have, audit financials, but you need an audit review. You need to have a key man insurance. Who's the key person in your company? Mm-hmm. If something happens to you or just companies need to continue to flourish and go through those pitfalls. And then we talk about if something happens to you, Rodney, or something happens to you, Jesse, or something happens to you, JB, and you own this business, where's your succession plan at? Who's going to run this business? Oh, better yet, succession-wise, how am I going to get that money back if something happens to you and you're gone? How's that money going to come back? So it's so many things, and then, you go through all the small pieces of the business from the marketing. We talked about the business plans or PPM, private placement memorandum, or you looking at your advertising, your social media, your PR, your sales, your HR, your back office. You need a CFO, you need another COO. You got to go through those things, because at the end of the day, if you're sitting here saying, hey, I need your money, you saying, why do I need your money? You got to be able to tell JB or tell Jesse or tell Rodney or any investor or any bank why you need this money.
Mm-hmm. So you have portfolio. Small allocation, non-performing. Mm-hmm. I keep going back to that. Mm-hmm. You have somebody that's your professional peer that's willing to co-invest with you. Mm-hmm. You perceive that they're going to have as much skin in the game. Mm-hmm. They can talk the talk. They can walk it like they talk it. And now it's time. Migos. And now
Jess will get ready to rap, right?
But now it's time to go into that endeavor. And so the question becomes, you've got your check, they've got their check. Mm-hmm. We come back to those covenants. What happens if a check's not good?
Their check is not good?
A check's not good. You or them.
Oh, both
you
checks,
or he or she.
Both checks have to be good. I mean, there's paperwork involved before we get started. Of course, we'll see when do we start, what timelines, at what timelines certain things happen, at what timelines we're expected to get returns, mm-hmm. and be able to walk with them through that whole path to actually visually see it. And, see operations, see who's running things, who's in charge of making all this stuff happen. I want to see them, not just you, but let's see them. Right?
So from deposit to debit,
yes,
you want to be able to track it.
You got to track it.
Got it.
And I think that's the most important thing is the tracking. People
Mm-hmm.
lose focus to that, especially other businesses.
True.
They know they want money. They know how much they want. Sometimes they don't even know how much they want.
Mm-hmm. Well, we find that a problem in a lot of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We're asking for $2 million or we're asking for $5 million, but when you really dig into the business and uncover a lot of things, you really don't need the $2 million. Right. You might just need $750. Right. And $750 is going to be able to buy those 2 or 3 salespeople, or get that CFO, or buy that new equipment that you needed to, get your product off the ground. So you look at all that, and it's tough to tell an owner that he or she don't need this.
Right. And if they can't lay out a clear reason why, and get their ego out of the way, right?
We talked about ego. We talked about ego. Everybody has ego. You should be proud of your product or your company. If you're rendering a service or you're making a product, you still should know it and be proud of it. But you got to back down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, because I think one time we had a vendor who wouldn't accept no for nothing. Just wouldn't accept no. But I'm like, when no is no, you keep pushing. But there's some point you're going to have to say, okay, either they're going to put you out of their office or you better walk on out of that office, right?
Yeah. Because a no, they tell you in sales 101, a no is a not yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? But I'm still willing to make my bet
Right.
until the next appointment is set for me to see what I can get.
No.
Okay? So
That's the rap artist, Jesse McRae the third.
But again, all humor aside, let's look at it this way. You have a business that you're soliciting capital for. Does it make more sense for you now, looking back on the successes that you've had and some of the barriers that you've had?
A lot of failures.
I said barriers.
I like the failures because they're wins.
Yeah.
I don't like the failures. I don't like them at all. I don't think, it's hard to say it though.
Yeah.
Don't like the failures.
Yeah, but they're necessary.
They're necessary, of course.
So how important is it then, if you're going to garner the confidence of the investor and you work backwards from the balance sheet? Because to your question, and it's a great question, is you may not need $2 million. You may only need $750,000.
Right.
So how important is it then to work from the balance sheet forward? Because that money has a cost. How important is it to be able to look and say, okay, with $750,000, I know what the debt burden is. Now let me flow it through the sources and uses. Let me flow it through to the projected P&L. How important is it to look at it from that perspective to try and understand why the $750 is all you're going to get,
Is all you're going to get,
and how are you going to
how
leverage
you going to
that?
work it. I mean, that's like anything. That's like me saying, or your mother saying, hey, go to the store, here's $10 and I need X, 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 X. You have to be able to allocate if this is enough money to get that.
See, you just struck a nerve, because see, I'm gonna tell you,
You know what I mean?
there's Borden, and then there's Good Day.
Good day.
Okay?
Board milk, everybody.
And let me just tell
For
you,
those young ones, those young millennials who don't know what boards is.
and let me just tell you, the expiration date may be the same, but the outcome at or beyond that date won't be the same. Okay? But we digress. We digress. Go ahead.
This boy here will take you back.
So I think another important thing, and I'll get to what you said. Another important thing is to know who you're sitting in front of. Because if you have a business and it's in fuel or oil, or you have a product that's in medical, if you're in medical, you know it's kind of hard to sit in front of an oil guy who knows nothing about this, right? He may invest based on the numbers and the opportunity.
Great point.
But if you're in oil, sit in front of a guy who's been in the oil industry, a company that does that, so you can power yourself down and learn a lot in there, right? And when you're talking about that 750, of course, that's one of the biggest things. What are you going to do with the money? The source and uses. What are you going to do step by step with this money? Why do you need it?
So you're saying in that instance there, where you are talking to a practitioner, you get to solicit through the lens of a mentee.
There you go. And now when he's breaking down, how dare you say anything, how dare you say anything out of the way to a person who's at the point that you're trying to get to. Now they're able to break down, okay, you need 750, no you don't, you need 3 million. And let me tell you why, because I've been there 10,000 times. Right?
And I can tell you firsthand.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a lot better than somebody saying, well, this looks like a good plan, we're going to give you the check, let's do it. And not only do you not make it, but now you just lost an investment group, right, that believed in you.
Or at least lost the return
Or
up to
lost
that point.
return,
So to that end then, because we recently had conversations with a group out of the southeastern region of the country, and their particular feedback was, well, we've been told that we don't need as much money, but we've gone around and raised plenty of money, and so we would like to raise the same amount of money in one lump sum. So slightly different play on your scenario. Instead of need $3 million, timing, other macro forces, you're not going to get $3 million. You're only going to get $750.
Right.
To your point about ego, how important is it to decide, is it the value of the $750, or is it all about the timing of when I can get the rest of that $3 million? how important is it for an entrepreneur to be prepared to make that decision? Because cost of money is cost of money,
Yeah.
but
Right.
you're just getting a smaller sum than you anticipated.
Right.
So,
right.
so how important is it to view it through that lens of taking what you can now and then leading up to what you hope to get later?
I think for entrepreneurs, all ego a lot of the times, right? I try to be as humble as I can because you've taken all this energy and you've built this thing from scratch. You think you're the guy standing on top of the mountain with your hair blowing in the wind.
Really, that's a joke, man. What's up?
Really, man? Really?
Man,
Mortality is real, folks. Mortality is real.
Well, feeling the cool breeze on the top of your head.
Yeah, I like that one better.
I like that one a lot better.
I
like
get
that
the
a lot
cool
better.
breeze,
I get the
JB.
cool breeze, absolutely.
So you're that guy, but you got to be able to humble yourself to other people.
Right.
And people are going to invest in who they like. Groups are going to invest in who they like, and sometimes they'll invest in you as a person as well. So to be able to say, okay, with this 750, I'm still taken care of, right? I just have to maybe get through a couple points with this 750. I can get to the rest. That's fine. And if you're really going to do what you say you're going to do, it's going to be fine. If you say you need the whole $3 million instead of the 750 right now, that throws a red flag. Because why not take the 750, show me a little something,
Right.
and then I'm going to give you the rest.
Right.
So if you argue against that, it basically tells the investor that you have you're not really believing that you're going to hit these milestones that you're talking about.
Right.
You're going to hit.
Right, and our
do what you
response
wanna
to
do.
them actually was the fact that we wanted to convey this very, affectionately. Is, ma'am or sir, make sure that you don't show a blatant disregard for the investor's sensitivity. They're
Right.
sensitive to timing and allotment, and you're being insensitive.
Right.
So that really is speaking to sort of your response to this, and we appreciate you, I guess, in organically concurring with our thoughts. Is that hey, at the end of the day, do you leave with nothing
Correct.
or something?
Correct.
Yeah,
and something with the hopes of
Right.
getting the rest. Why
Right,
not?
right. And we find probably more than often, a lot of companies, when you want capital, you want it today.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. I mean, you have, you've been building and grinding on this thing for quite a while, but you'll come, to a group like us and you say, hey, well, I really need the $5 million today, or I need it in the next month. And I'm like, well, you've been trying to raise $5 million for the last 4 years. But you expect, to turn around, and that's okay. But, we just try to make sure that we educate, the process. There's a process to everything. There's a process to getting the money, the process to making your products and everything else, but some things just don't happen like right away. But JB, man, again, I want to make sure I give you the opportunity to at least expound on the JB3 and let the public know about your device and where they can go get it at too, because you've actually created a heck of a device that's actually saved me, and got me up walking, because I was supposed to have back surgery, and thanks to the JB3, I didn't have back surgery. I'm telling y'all, I didn't have it, and I'm still hooping. So
There you go.
I thank you so much for that, man. But go ahead and expound on that too.
Yeah. So my company manufactures a apparatus that helps with conditions like back pain, knee pain, hip pain, mobility restrictions, sciatica, MS, cerebral palsy, you name it, even weight loss. And
Weight loss. Whoa. Y'all been listening? Weight loss.
what makes us a little bit different is we act on the root cause of your problem. So we're not like a pain pill or anything like that, even though we reduce pain within the first 27 steps. And you can check that out at jonathanbender.com, or you can take a look at our product site at jbitmedpro.com. That's jbitmedpro.com.
Man, JB, again, man, it's always a pleasure,
Absolutely.
brother,
Thanks,
having you
man.
here with us.
Pleasure being
It's
here,
been a
man.
5-star
Pleasure.
experience, my friend.
Absolutely, man.
5-star.
Being here with you, being here with J Mac, man, it's always a privilege, to be here, to actually for all of us to be upright every morning and every day to come and at least, expound on our experiences, and JB, especially you, expounding on your experiences coming from the NBA, being a business owner and a good leader. That's outstanding. But October 11th, we're here again. PN Global News, we're about ready to sign off for October 11th. We'll come back next Thursday at 10 a.m.
Central Standard Time.
Central Standard Time.
In between flights.
Right. In between flights, so we got to film somewhere else in other states. But anyway, we want you guys to have a blessed day, a blessed weekend. Continue to drive and thrive with your business, and just know that if you asking for the money, you got to be prepared to give the answers on why you need our money. We'll be back next week at PN Global News. I'm Rodney Woods.
Jesse McRae.
And my man,
Jonathan Bender.
have a great weekend.
Best of luck to you.